Thanks for tuning in to PR's Realm. This video right here is going to be done in two parts because what you're looking at are two tablets. They're both made by Asus, and unfortunately they both no longer function. The larger one is a bit older and it actually wound up breaking quite some time ago. It was already attempted to be fixed, found everything inside was practically destroyed. So the only thing we're going to do with this one is break it open, see what's inside. In part 2 of the video, we're going to move on to the smaller Asus tablet. So without further ado, let's start part 1. Before I just slam it open, as you see, this is similar to any phone on the side. There are little grooves. I'm going to get a screwdriver to pop that open and then I'll get back to you. Before I take it all the way open, and since I'm doing the video on my own, I just want to show you for anyone else that may be interested in trying to open a tablet and or phone, because a lot of phones and tablets have a similar way of being opened. It's not recommended because many times when you open that tablet or phone that's not really meant to be open unless necessary, it could damage parts. So unless you have a device that you no longer want and really don't care if it gets destroyed, or if that's your last resort because it's not working, try not to do this. In this case, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to check out what's inside. So let me finish opening it up. Okay, we took off the top layer, the outer shell. That was a success. Like I said, this tablet it had been attempted to be fixed. It's already outdated. We're just getting to the nitty-gritty. We're breaking it down. So let's start by pulling out some wires. If you enjoy this type of stuff, you'll probably enjoy this video, but I don't recommend anyone taking devices that they know can be fixed and or work, or taking something that's not yours, especially if you're a kid. Do not take your parents' tablets or phones and start ripping them apart. I found these little screws right here, so before I rip more wiring out, I'm gonna unscrew it. I had to go through quite a few screwdrivers. As you see here, I have quite a big variety of small screwdrivers. In this case, I needed this very tiny screwdriver for a very tiny screw. This is magnetized, they're already unscrewed, so you could see that they're out. Before I go any further, those screws took out and exposed this piece right here, which I believe are the speakers. Very tiny. There's a wire. I'm just gonna attempt to rip that out with one hand. See right here, the wiring. Here goes some of the magnetized plastic. This is not just any plastic, it actually can conduct the electricity throughout the system. Okay, this wire, it's one side was ripped out. I'm gonna rip out the other side. As I was taking out the wire, I noticed this little part right here. This is actually, this piece connected is the GPS antenna. If you don't know what GPS stands for, that stands for Global Positioning System. And put it simply, it's basically a device that helps track things, track you, gives directions, such as Google Maps or any other map program, and even many apps such as Facebook and Instagram and all those social media. Unless you turn it off, they will track you as well. Let's go another layer. Before I take it off, I just want to show you what I did. This piece right here is glued down, so I'm just gonna pull it up. So I pulled it up and it's wrapped in a foil-like piece. I'm gonna get some scissors, try to take off this foil because it's actually glued as well. It's very sticky, but let's attempt to get it off. going piece by piece. I took off this one, it was a little foil sticker. This sticker had the serial numbers, model number, all the identification information. And now the wires are starting to get a little bit looser, but as I said, it's very sticky. Let's keep going. I'm gonna use the scissors, but it would only cut straight through. So what I did was I got this little tool. It's a box cutter, carpenter's knife. Goes by a few names. Box cutter and carpenter's knife are the two most popular. I started to slice the other side, as you see. I'm going to begin to slice the rest off, and then we'll see what's underneath. I took off the first layer, and what I found was another layer, but even odder. It has a very strong odor of a paint chemical smell. You know what I'm talking about, but think of being in a chemical plant or a warehouse, of the smells you smell there. Once I pulled out this layer, the smell was extremely strong, very strong. It feels like I had to cover my nose. I started choking. So let's get the next layer off, see what happens. Actually, as I go down layer by layer, I notice the smell is even stronger. And this time I'll just keep going because now it's basically unraveling, basically unfolding, I should say. Like a long piece of folded up paper. And I don't know exactly what's inside of it. So we're gonna go down one layer more. If I could do it while the camera's on, I'll do it while the camera's on. And it seems I can. These are being cut in half. And this is actually where the smell is coming from. It's very strong. There's some kind of chemical on here, which I'm gonna definitely have to wash my hands and clean this area, because this smell is extremely strong. Unfortunately, I don't know what the chemical is or exactly why it's used, but there's a lot of it in there. So let me get rid of this piece, and then I'll get back to you opening up the rest. Okay, so I had to get rid of that piece. The odor was so strong that I even had to crack the window. And if you see right here, there's little chips of whatever was in there. And right now, even with the window open, the smell is still lingering on. Hopefully within a few minutes it'll go away. So one thing I learned, which I never saw in any other actually never smelled in another electronic device, is what I smell today. I'm gonna go on, get out these other pieces in here, see if there's anything underneath, and we'll check that out too. Before I keep going, I'm just gonna show, it seems like a lot of this stuff was just like glued down, taped on. This piece right here, it was just glued here, ripped it right off. And as you see, this piece right here, it just kind of looks like a piece of tape. It'll help clean up some of those pieces of chemical. Get that out the way. And now we have down to a little switchboard left. And it looks like I'm gonna have to unscrew a few screws here. There's one here. One here. This one's a little larger, another one here. So let me take out all these different screws and see what happens. Okay, so I finished unscrewing the screws. There were 4 of them, 2 very tiny ones, and 2 others that were also very tiny, but they had a much larger head to them, I guess, so it held the pieces down a lot easier. And I noticed that after that, this is gonna come up pretty easily, except for one part. Is there another screw or not? But it's broken, so we're just gonna rip it off. This is underneath it right here. The wire right there, we'll just pull that out. And here we have more of this tape. I guess they weren't too big on soldering things down. Seems very cheaply made, but it's one of those companies where they make decent quality at lower prices. So maybe gluing these pieces, taping these pieces, save them a lot of money. That's how they get the prices down. Over here, we don't have much left. As you can see right here is where the camera is located. I'm gonna pull that up with the pliers. The screen is on the other side, so I'm gonna attempt to totally separate that. Let's see how that goes. The camera came up very easily. You see right here, I just pulled it right off. As I said, pretty much everything is like glued down in this. Here's the GPS. It's basically a piece of aluminum that's sticky, like a piece of tape, and it's conducted through the metal within the aluminum. So we got that off. There's still some wires here that you can see are also glued in. I'm gonna have to stop the filming to get that out. So I'm gonna get back in just a moment. I'm gonna pull up all these right here, take out all the sticky parts, and try my best to get to that other side so that we have the back of the screen. It took off all the aluminum pieces quite a bit. There's still this plastic layer, which is going to be a little tougher to get through. I'm gonna probably have to just break some of these pieces right here, snap them off, and then see if I can pull the rest off. So let's get to doing that. Ripping it off layer by layer, piece by piece. And ripping off layer by layer and piece by piece, we got crack by crack and the screen is broken. So we're gonna try to advance this a little. Got my great tool, trusted hammer. And first I'm gonna take a carpenter's knife, cut off all this paper. Then I'm gonna rip this out. If that doesn't work, screen's already cracked, so hammer, here we go. So let's do what I said and get back. Part of the plastic was actually taped down. It's not Scotch tape, but it's a special kind of tape. Almost looks like Scotch tape. Just thought that was interesting. So it's breaking down into piece by piece. Before I go any further, I just want to show what I did. I used a special device to heat up the plastic so I could pry the rest of it off. I'm going to go down, get the rest of it off manually by peeling off the rest of these stickers. And just a warning, I wouldn't recommend burning plastic in an indoor enclosed area because the fumes can be toxic. Even in an outdoor area, it's good to have one of these. Painters use it. Sometimes they use it for various chemicals. This isn't the greatest one, but it's very helpful. And also make sure you're in a ventilated area. I open the windows so it is ventilated. The smell is getting out, but it's not a good idea. But just thought I had that, so let's get the rest of this off. Before things get too dangerous, I'm gonna stop the experiment here. And mainly because all this glass is beginning to crack further and further, and I don't want that to be tracked everywhere. But we got the idea of what's inside an Asus tablet. This is an older model, 5, maybe more years old, probably more. And I learned one thing, that the quality of parts are not very good. So, not putting down the tablet, because it was a great tablet. My daughter loved it when it worked, but fortunately, somehow it broke. It may have been dropped, it may not have been. Since then, she's gotten new tablets and new devices, and this is outdated anyway. So that's the end of the video. Stay tuned for part 2, where we check out the other Asus tablet. Thanks for watching PR's Realm. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. If you like this video and want to see more like it, leave me a message down in the comments below. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any ideas, feel free to let me know. I would love to read them. Take care. Thanks again. PR's Realm. www.youtube.com/PRSREALM. PR's Realm.